Luna,
What's up, Magic?
what's happening?
Luna, what's up, Magic?
How's it going?
Good.
You might want to turn your camera so I don't see what's going on here. Something's happening on my stream. I'll get rid of this.
Turn,
There we go.
what'd you say?
You might want to
Turn
turn
my camera on?
your phone the other way around. You're sideways on my screen right now. Should be able to see. By the way, on the stream they can only see your forehead, so you might want to bring your camera up a little bit.
What do you mean? Lower it?
That's it. That's better. That's better. That is better.
I think that's the
so people can see us on the stream. I'm just hoping everyone can hear us on the stream as well. Okay, I'm assuming that's... Yep, we're on stream now, so I'm assuming everyone can hear us. Just give it a couple of minutes. Oh, that's going to keep posting that link. I can't remember to take that link off in the future. But I'll let it keep posting it for now, but I forgot to change it. So that's what it is. Let's see what happens if anybody else saying that there isn't many on, so hopefully someone will be able to do what we do. And next time I'll have our logo all sorted out. I didn't have the time this weekend to sort out our logo that you sent me, Luna, so I'll get that sorted out for the next show.
That's all good.
But I just slept after yesterday. After the 24-hour thing, I just slept. So right. So we can start because it's gone, and hopefully people will join in at some point throughout the call, and we can see what happens. So start off with the boxing. I take it you didn't watch Chisora, the Chisora Parker fight, Luna.
I didn't get to catch it, man.
So as a boxing fan, though, and you were right into boxing, weren't you? When you were younger, you were into your boxing.
I still love boxing.
You still, yeah, I love boxing as well, kind of thing. So this is a bit that didn't get me right. So it was an easy one-sided fight. Parker took the fight. He was winning round by round, etc. But what I didn't get. So as your trainer, as your corner man on a boxing fight, you throughout a fight, after especially the first 2 or 3 rounds, you can see where the shots are coming from. So Chisora was getting hit by the uppercut. He was bending down, and the uppercut was coming from Parker, and he was getting caught every time. Right? It's not like he was getting caught once; he was getting caught every time. And as the fight went on, that shot downed him about 3 times in the fight as well. He got back up, but it downed him. As a trainer, surely you see that in a fight, and you tell your boxer to try to stop that from happening.
100%. Every time he goes to the corner, they should be telling him what he's missing and what to be looking for.
Because it frustrated me watching that and him getting caught with the same. And it wasn't like this guy was trying anything different. He knew a punch that was working. He was going for it every time, and it was hitting every time. So in my head, I'm going, as a trainer, surely your job is to stop that happening, to give your fighter a chance, and not saying this is the game plan. This is the game plan. We get the game plan, but if you're not protecting your fighter from a shot that he's clearly getting hit by, and he's clearly been down 3 or 4 times in that fight already by, you're saying to him, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, eventually the ref would probably have to step in on something like that, but the coach should definitely, the guys on his corner should be telling him what to be looking for and how to defend it, man, if he doesn't know already.
And that was the most frustrating part about that fight. So I watched the whole fight, and while it was one-sided, and Chisora had his main points, it was bugging me throughout the whole fight because I love boxing, and seeing Chisora getting hit with that uppercut and being floored with it. I think we got floored with it 3 times, maybe 4. And when you heard when the cameras go back to the corner, and you can hear the cornerman talking to the fighter, there was nothing they were saying to him to defend himself against that uppercut coming in.
Yeah. What did you think of the other boxing matches that were going down, the Jake Paul stuff?
So I
like the way the rest.
I watched that. I didn't watch the whole fight. I watched the highlights on the phone the next day, kind of thing. But there seems to be controversy regarding was the knockout staged. What's your opinion?
I seen a video on this actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He did a little cut, and then Woodley dropped his hands, and he gave him the hook that dropped him. It looked kind of questionable to me, bro.
So that's it. That's the whole debate that's going on right now. That's on Twitter and all these other places. Is that was this rigged knockout? Was this Woodley got paid enough money to take the fall, to make Jake look good, to get obviously all these other fights, etc., that he wants to go after. But the way his signal came from his hand for then that hand to drop, it does look like.
He said he faked a body blow and then that's why he dropped his hands. But it looked like he just stuck his chin out and let him finish him up.
Yeah, see, and this is where I'm at. I'm like, it does look staged. I'm sorry, and I say if you've seen the same videos I've seen, then it does come across like, is there something else going? Like, was he really paid the money for this to happen? Was he really actually done this for this to happen? So again, it's my opinion. Again, it can be your opinion. I don't think anyone's going to be able to prove anything.
Yeah, 100%. Before the fight, he gave him a present too that I heard was worth a lot of money. Like it was kind of like a bribe or a buyoff. So it's crazy. Like,
well, I heard about the £500,000 thing that said if you knock me out, I'll give you 500,000. But that was from Jake Paul's point of view, saying that if Woodley knocks him out, and Woodley is a UFC fighter, if I'm right in saying, yeah.
Yes, so he gave him some type of watch or something that was worth 3 times as much as that bonus, supposedly, out of respect.
There's all this controversy stuff, and boxing is probably one of the fairest sports out there from when you're in the ring fighting point of view. Don't get me wrong, judges sometimes get it completely wrong. Like I've seen fights where the scorecards have been ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So, but from a sporting event, I think I see boxing one of the ones out of the fairest sports when you're in the ring, because you can't really pre-plan anything or do anything. But that fight there, just has put doubt in whether it's possible for that to happen.
A couple fights before that, one of my favorite football players, Frank Gore, fought a basketball player, Darren Williams. And it was like basically a street fight. The ref wasn't like stopping no late hits, and Darren Williams was throwing him out the ring and still punching him. It was crazy. I've never seen no boxing match refs like that. Like, these ain't even boxing matches. They're like straight up street fights. It's just so low budget. Those refs are like one-sided too.
Yeah.
I don't like.
And the fact that he called out Diaz and Conor McGregor after the fight, I'm thinking, guy's got balls.
Well, he knows he's not going to fight him, so if he's talking, maybe he'll fight Nate Diaz, I think. But I think Diaz will beat him. Diaz got hands. Nate Diaz.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what comes into the new year and how things come up next year, and how things work out, I guess, in the boxing world. So going back to what we're here for today's NFL. Obviously, my guys played last night. Oh no, the other night. Sorry, not last night. The other night, and got beat 27-17.
It was last night, yeah.
It was last night. Baphomet, how's it going? NFL talk. You're more than welcome to join the call if you want to on Dizzy. But thank you for joining. Yes, so New England took a defeat. What impact does that have, if any, as things start going into the playoffs and the automatic spots, etc.?
I'll send you some stats. I'm pretty sure if New England would have won, they would have had like a 68% chance of clinching the number 1 seed from their division. And running back from the Colts, he's the top running back in NFL right now since Derrick Henry got hurt. He had like a 67-yard
touchdown,
run because in the fourth quarter, the Patriots had scored, I think, 19 unanswered, 17 unanswered, something like that.
Yeah, so Jonathan Taylor finished it off with a 6-7-yard touchdown. So, and obviously I'm gutted because I'm a Pats fan. Hoppit, I'm good, man. Obviously, thank you for joining the NFL Talk. If you've got anything you want to bring in, by me join the Dizzy Baphomet, more than welcome to join me and Luna to defend. Obviously, talk about your team as well, because I know you're into NFL. Or if you've got any questions, put them on the chat for me or Luna. Happy to answer. So New England kind of like blew it a little bit going into this one.
That wide receiver that New England has, I don't remember his name. It's like Neil, something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Neil. What's his name? I can't feel the top of my head. No, when I'm put on the spot, but yeah, I know who you mean.
He had a nice catch in there. He's a really good wide receiver, but he hasn't done nothing in the NFL. But I caught a little bit of that game, and I seen him do this real big catch, maybe like a 30-yarder. And that's what they've been waiting for, man. They've been waiting for him to break out, because that dude we have, Brandon Ayuk, he used to keep him on the bench. And Brandon Ayuk is good. So the Patriots have a better wide receiver, but they're not using him. Looks like Mac Jones is starting to get use out of him, though.
Yeah. Slowly.
He's not a bad quarterback. At first, I used to think, damn, he's like fat, out of shape, and he doesn't look like a quarterback. But he's been proving me wrong. I kind of was shit talking him for a while. Yesterday, I watched him in the fourth quarter. He was looking nice. He started to figure out that defense.
He's doing all right. As I said, I'm still shocked that New England are in the position they're in, considering that they ain't got the greatest of team. They've got a good team, but not compared to what we had. They don't got the greatest team. So the fact that we are in the position we're in shocks me as a Pats fan. To be fair, because I didn't see us being there. But then again, you've got is it the Falcons, the Cardinals who are running riot on the NFC side?
Yeah, the Cardinals.
Cardinals
basically have a number
locked. Like no one expected, like you said last week, that they picked up all these free agents that were flying around, and now they seem to be like a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they keep on getting star wide receivers. I don't know how they're doing it, how the salary cap works anymore, but it seems like every time a big free agent is out there, he comes to the NFC West.
Again, yeah, I agree. Surely they've got to be the cap lies somewhere, right? There is a cap that lies somewhere, but either they're working out a deal with these players that they're not breaking the cap, or someone's not doing their work from the other side and they're breaking the cap and no one's realised. So
yeah, those GMs are doing magic over there, especially in LA with the Rams. They were like giving away players, and all of a sudden they signed like 3 of the highest paid players in the NFL: Odell Beckham, Von Miller, and Matthew Stafford. It's crazy. I don't understand it.
So, in your opinion, what are the key matchups this week? In your opinion, in the games happening over this week, obviously some games have been changed to Monday and Tuesday night to help people come back from COVID reserve to get the games on, because they've got a lot of teams have got players out due to this and the protocol that's in place. So some of the games have been moved to a Tuesday night game.
Yeah, a lot of COVID outbreaks. That's making stuff difficult for the NFL. I think there's 2 games on Monday and 2 games on Tuesday.
Yeah. Thanks, Nutty. Any good rugby games? Nutty's out to troll. So this weekend, what do you say your key the key games are for this weekend that could impact the playoff spots and the wildcard spots?
I got a couple right here. Seattle versus LA, the Rams. That's going to be a good one.
Yep.
The Rams are favored by 4.5 points. The game was moved to a Tuesday. It's going to be in I think the Rams are at home. Yeah, the Rams are at home on that one. And all of their players are getting cleared from the COVID list. Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Ramsey. Those are the two main ones that were supposed to be doubtful for the game.
But
So
could be
I
back
think,
now because it's been moved to Tuesday. Hi, Zombie Kitty. Thank you for
yeah,
joining. So I've got a
since it
question.
was moved to
Go on, Luna.
since it was moved to Tuesday, they gave him an extra opportunity to get healthy and come off the COVID list, which
Okay,
is bad news for the Seahawks.
so I'm going to put you in a. I'm going to ask you a question here from NFL point of view. So I'm going to give you an example from a football point of view in England about COVID to what's happening in NFL. So from a football point of view, a certain team couldn't field a full team. They could get 11 on the field, but from a substitutes point of view, they couldn't get full substitutes and were told, no, you have to play. So if you're an NFL team now and you're playing, and you'll say you're the Seahawks or the LA, and dipping, whoever's players are missing with COVID, if you're the opposite team, are you a bit peeved that you've given someone else a chance to get a stronger team out when you could have played a lesser team, especially when it depends on the wild card spots and the playoff spots?
That actually happened to us last year. The 49ers had was it 6 people test positive for COVID 2 days before the game, but it was like a false positive. But out of safety standards, they made like half of our team sit down. We had to bring up practice squad players to play in a football game against the Packers. The Packers, had a bunch of people that had COVID too, but the NFL overlooked it. So NFL is kind of biased right now, but they're worried about player safety too. So,
but don't you think it's wrong right now? Because say it's Seattle who had the players out. Yes, so LA could have had a stronger team out and could have won that easily. Now you're giving Seattle, for instance, a better chance to compete. It's got to be one rule completely or nothing at all, because you've had players out for COVID all year, like in all the matches we've had all year. But those teams haven't had the chance to say, "Okay, we'll give you an extra few days so you get your COVID player back." But all of a sudden now, to get a game on, rather than bringing players up from the practice squad, you're saying, "Oh, don't worry about your practice squad. We'll give you a few more days so your first team players can come back in."
So I think the NFL is leaning more towards the teams that are in the playoffs, like the Rams. And like if it was the other way around, Seattle had a outbreak of players that were hurt, NFL would be like, oh, well, we're playing regular schedule. It doesn't matter because you guys ain't even in the playoff race. And I think that's what they've been doing since the outbreak started. Because I think we were struggling to get into the playoffs, and they were like, nah, you got to play the game.
But in your opinion, it shouldn't be that kind of rule, right? Surely it's got to be one rule for everyone.
No, it should be fair. The Packers should have Aaron Rodgers suspended for taking the COVID shot. He faked it, and he just pretended like he had it and let everyone believe he did. He had a shot for COVID, and he didn't get in trouble. He didn't get suspended. I think he got fined. He didn't get suspended or nothing. But supposedly that would be like suspended for the whole season type of thing. But since he's Aaron Rodgers, he got away with it.
Well, it seems to be right now, and as I talk from here, is that there's a discussion going on over here in the UK that for footballers anyway, ones that are not vaccinated are going to be forced to be vaccinated, because obviously we're getting games postponed here due to COVID right now, due to a massive COVID outbreak with this new variant, etc. So one of the things coming up saying all players should be vaccinated, irrespective. How I don't agree. Personally, I don't agree with that. I think it's your own choice when we get vaccinated or not. So I'm assuming, is it the same in the US where it's a player's choice, or are they getting forced now to get vaccinated?
It's a player's choice, but they have like these like stipulations in them that say that like if your player is not vaccinated and he infects half the team, you guys have to play no matter what. And if you don't have enough players to field a team, you forfeit the game because you guys are the ones that didn't get vaccinated. So it's like if you choose not to vaccinate, you're hurting the team basically.
Okay, fair enough.
Also in baseball, they're striking for more money due to this COVID stuff because they're saying like a bunch of people are coming into the stadium and they can like they they could not be vaccinated, but they have proof that they're not infected with
Mhm.
COVID. So they're striking for more money for player safety, like because
Wow.
they're risking themselves. The whole baseball season's on hold right now. They're saying it's not going to happen because they're fighting with the owners for like some type of extra pay.
Zombie Kit is
So
saying hazard pay makes sense. So I've got a twist on that though, and what you're saying, Zombie Kit, I have got a twist on that. So they say if you're in the outdoors, COVID isn't. You're safer outdoor. Baseball is played outdoors, so there's no roof over it, which is locking you in, right? Correct in saying that? So,
yeah,
secondly, the players are on the pitch, so miles away from any fan that are inside. So miles away from any fan for you to be in contact with, etc. And if you've got your protocols in place, etc., whether you have to make sure you have your passport for COVID or you've proven negative, etc., 24 whatever hours before you came to the game, then where's the hazard? And I'm saying that to you as well, Zombie Key. Where's the hazard? If it's played outdoor, you got less chance of catching it. If what they say is true about COVID, so why are baseball players looking for extra pay? Where's their risk to them? Because the only chance they can catch it is from their teammate or their coaching staff, not from people that are miles away high up in the stands.
You're talking about a different kind of COVID. There's different variants that spread different ways. So we're not too sure on how these new variants are spreading, but it could be different, man. It could be like I don't know if you ever heard of tuberculosis. How like
Yeah,
there's like different strains of tuberculosis. There's one called like super tuberculosis. It's like a mutated form that like is highly affected. And I talked to a doctor about it, and he said it's worse than AIDS because you can catch it just by breathing the same air as someone in the fucking elevator or in a bus or something.
but that's in a closing place. That's what I said. It's in an enclosed. You're in an enclosure. You're in a closed enclosure. This is you're playing in an open field, so that. And what they say about COVID is that the air evaporates, so it doesn't do anything to it. So, and I'm going back to what Zombie Kit is saying here about hazard pay, and what you said is, where's the hazard to them? It's only going to be from their own teammate. I don't see it from the stand. I don't see it from you're in the stand watching the game. How are you going to catch it?
You could catch it from an infected person who doesn't know they're infected yet, like somebody who serves you drinks or someone who does your laundry or like someone who made the Kool-Aid for you before the game, someone who's serving you hot dogs or fucking preparing your uniforms.
But I go back to the fact, you're talking about people in the stands. I'm talking about the players who are looking for the hazard pay. They're not getting served by these hot dog people. They've got their coaching staff, their team, and people cooking their food, giving them drinks, etc., so and so. So it's around their own players, not from someone who's coming to watch a game of baseball and sitting in the stands.
I guess it's just a risk thing, man. Like, I'm risking my life, my family's health. I guess it's something like that, I guess, you know?
Okay, fair point. It's just me trying to put another spin on it when you obviously kind of mention it on there to what it could be. So we've got the LA and Seahawks being, okay, as Zombie said something, the surface life is a few hours. It can be spread through air. The variants are still being studied. Fair point, Zombie. And I get what you're saying. And I guess the way, and as much as you said the variants are still being studied, I'm only going by what you read, I guess, or hear in the news or what you read in the papers, where when first COVID and all the COVID struck, and I guess the advice our government gives to us, kind of thing. So basically, our government gives, who says if you're outside, you're less likely to catch any variant COVID because, and you wear a mask and keep your distance because you're out in the open air. If you're inside in a closed space, you've got more chance of catching it. So that's where I guess I was coming from it. But I do understand some of what you're saying as well as what Luna's saying. It was me just putting a different spin on it. When you say pay like that, I think is it really hazardous because you're going to catch it from your teammates? But everyone's got a different opinion on that. So it's one of those things where I guess we will see what comes of it. We'll pick it up on a later show, and Luna, you can update us whether that happened or whether it resumed or whether something came from it. So we've got LA and Seattle. Any other key games for this weekend that you think that'd be crucial to?
This one's not crucial to the playoffs, but since Zombie Kitty's talking, we could talk about the Raiders and the Browns game.
Oh yeah, but she's a Raiders fan.
Yeah, she's a Raiders fan.
And before you start, Zombie, what happened last week against Kansas? That was a mauling. Like, that was an absolute. I don't know. I watched that and I was thinking, what the hell is going on? Like, they were 6 for 6 going into that game, so it's not like they were getting battered every week. But Kansas City just, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. But Luna is now Zombie, so Luna's going to give us. So what's your point for this week's game, Luna? What you think is going to happen this week?
So the Raiders have been struggling, but their record is just as good as the Browns. I mean, the Browns have one more win than them, but how many games have the Raiders lost in a row? Like, was it 3? So the Browns ain't that good. I don't think they're that good. Their defense is a hell of a defense, though. So I think the Browns are gonna win, but I think if the Raiders play with their offensive line, their defense isn't that good though. The Raiders, but they have a good offense and a good quarterback. They can win. I don't think the Raiders are gonna win though. Sorry, Zombie Kitty. I think Myles Garrett's gonna have at least 2 sacks, and Cleveland's just gonna run away with it.
Do you think last weekend's result is going to have an impact on them? Because and I don't mean it in a bad way. It was, they got mauled by Kansas last week.
Yeah, the Raiders have a lot more problems than just the players that they're putting on the field, man. Their coach got in a scandal, and their wide receiver, their star wide receiver, got into a car crash that killed a lady and her dog.
Wow. Okay.
So, and they have like a intern coach who's like never was a coach before, like a head coach, and the NFL at least. So like all this stuff is random that's happening to them. They had a good team for a while, and all of this stuff started happening. So they turned back into the old Raiders.
Fair enough. I think some of the key. I think I've been only looking from a fantasy point of view, and I've been looking at some of the games, and I think some of the high-scoring games this week could be Jacksonville versus Houston. I think that could be an open both ends. I don't think either are decent defensively in any way, shape, or form. But I do.
Who do you think's gonna win that game? Jacksonville versus Houston.
We're looking right now, and this is a question I've got for you. So I have got James Robinson as my running back because of all the injuries I've got. But he's been doing absolutely crap for the last few weeks. And he's barely getting a snap, like getting past the ball. And you read some of the comments like, yeah, he should be back to this week, next week, etc. But he hasn't done so. I look at his average points over since his injury return. He scored 0.40 points last week and 2.50 points the week before. So, and that was against LA and Tennessee. So I think
those are the Rams have a defense, but they're bad against the run.
So Houston, Jacksonville, I think it would do a bit of correct. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston won that.
Jacksonville just fired their head coach. They just fired him. I don't know why yet, but I think he got into some kind of scandal too.
So yeah,
I didn't catch the reason. They're not really releasing information, but usually when a coach gets fired, they pay him like guaranteed money, and the Jags are taking him to court and saying that he breached their contract or something like that, and they're not trying to pay him the money that they owe.
I wouldn't be surprised with some of the decisions the Jacksonville coach made in the last couple of weeks. I've been watching some of it, and some of the decisions regarding players who he brought on, who he kept on the bench, didn't bring on, James Robinson being one of them. It's like, what the no, he made one fumble and then didn't play for the rest of the game. and he's your star running back for your team. It questions. So I'm not shocked that's happened, and sometimes you get these things like where you pay to not make sure these players you lost the game, but not saying that happened. I'm just saying. So it's one of those that are on there. You got again another. Pittsburgh seems to be on a downhill right now, and they got Tennessee, and Tennessee are one of those teams that if they turn up, brilliant. If they don't, look what happened against Houston. You expect Tennessee to win that, and they lost. So, what's your opinion on the Pittsburgh Tennessee game?
I think Tennessee got it. Pittsburgh is doing terrible this year. They looked all right last week, but I don't think they're going to be able to hang with Tennessee. Tennessee still has a decent running back and a good offensive line. One of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Their defense is not doing too great right now, but the Titans have a solid team. We have to play them, I think, on Thursday coming up.
Okay.
So I hope they have a bloodbath game.
So I've got a question for you, and this is regarding fantasy, right? So even though you guided me a bit the wrong way last week, well, it wasn't your fault because obviously Tevin Coleman didn't play. His replacement got injured in the first quarter, and then that was it. And then, and like I said, James Robinson got 0.40 points for me as my other running back. So my running back absolutely screwed me over going into last weekend. So I have been having a look this week, and there's a few waiver wire ones that to grab. So I'm going to get your opinion on some of them. I've got all of them in here because no one really picks them. So I've had a look at them all to see what's what. So I go back to what you said about Tennessee. Got a decent running back. Who were you on about?
On Tennessee?
Yeah.
I forgot who their running back is right now.
So it's D'Onta Foreman.
Yeah, D'Onta Foreman.
He's
not a known running back, but he's gonna get a lot of touches because that's the kind of offense they're running right now. Their quarterback isn't too good. He needs a strong running game to get off. Was it? Yes.
What for Tennessee? So you're saying Tannehill?
Yeah,
so you're saying Tannehill shit?
Yeah, Tannehill shit. Without a running game, he's shit.
So do you think Foreman? So Foreman, I've got here, but I haven't put him in. Do you think he will see a lot of work going into this game?
Yeah, I think he is going to see a lot of work if he doesn't get injured in the first fucking quarter.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got James Robinson. I don't know what to do with him. He's Jacksonville's top running back. Last 2 weeks hasn't been, but they're playing Houston.
And it's a different coach.
So I don't know whether to go with him or not to go with him.
So usually in NFL, when a coach gets fired or whatever he wasn't doing, the new coach is going to do. So they're probably going to run the ball a lot, I think, to see how it works out. And they have a rookie quarterback. They should have been running the ball constantly, but that's one of the reasons why their coach got fired because he wasn't calling a friendly rookie gameplay,
Okay, I'm still not done. I've got other options here yet because I've been trying to get my running back sorted because that's what my weakness spot is. So you've got Houston versus Jacksonville, and you had David Johnson called up from the practice squad. No, sorry, you got David Johnson from Houston, Texas, who's with a few injuries that Houston have. They're saying could be a viable option, which especially with Burkhead sits out this game. He's the only viable running back. But I've had David Johnson last year and he didn't do much for me.
So Houston, Jacksonville, those type of teams are always behind. They're always throwing. They're not going to be running the ball much. Houston and Jacksonville, since they play each other, one of them's going to have to run.
So if I said to you, would you put Foreman in for Tennessee instead of David Johnson? You'd pick Foreman.
Yeah, I pick Foreman. between those two.
Okay. Which I've done. So I'm gonna go back to James Robinson now, who's my other obviously running back in this. Now, this is a tough one, isn't it? Actually, ignore what I don't know. So you got Detroit playing Arizona, and they brought in Craig Reynolds from the practice squad because of the injuries they have to Jamal Williams. Is he worth a risk? Hasn't played much this year. Played last week. He played 11 rushes for 83 yards. He scored 12 points against Denver last week. Obviously, a bit of an easier, more of a matchup this week. Or would you stick with James Robinson?
I don't think he's worth the risk, man.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I've only got one other option here, but I've got to check what's happened to Thielen. I don't know if Thielman is back for the Vikings or not. Thielen.
Adam Thielen?
Yeah. It was questionable the other day. Obviously, Osborne's been filling in, and he's been doing well as wide receiver for the Vikings for the last 2 games. And he's still an option if Thielman is out, but they're saying he's questionable at the moment, but no one knows, and it might not know until game time. So it's one of those where I don't know what to do with him. He's not in my squad at the moment, but
I think if Thielen plays, he's better than all your running backs that you named. So you have to play him as a flex, I guess.
Yeah, so no, and that's why I've got a flex option there, and that's what I'm looking at. It's like I've got the flex option, but I haven't got Thielen in my squad. I've got Osborne because he's been playing for the last couple of games because Thielen's been out, and he's been doing well as a wide receiver for Vikings for those last 2 games. So, KJ Osborne's been doing really well the last 2 weeks, but he's not predicted. But again, last week wasn't predicted to score high points, and he did. For the last 2 games, he's done really well.
Kirk Cousins been on fire too, man. If it was up to me, I wouldn't play any of those running backs. I would play.
Oh, Baps joined. Baps in for the conversation.
Yo, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Not too bad, Bab. Not too bad. Just going through some of the games and fantasy options for this week for the NFL.
Yeah. What are they? What games are coming up?
So I think one of the key games was LA Seattle against Seattle. Luna was saying was one of the big games for this week.
We have the Saints and the Bucks.
Okay. Who's Seattle going against? Who?
Rams. Los Angeles Rams.
Now that might be a good game, but we all know who's gonna win that.
Who do you hang on before? Who do you reckon?
Do you think the Rams are gonna win that?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the Ravens. I think they got a good chance.
Oh, no, man, it's the Seahawks.
It's Seahawks.
The Seahawks? Oh, yeah, okay, then the Rams are going to win.
Yeah. It's going to be on Tuesday, so a little extra rest for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that, and then we're just looking at some of the fantasy waiver options for this week for some people, looking at their fantasy team for NFL.
Okay.
And obviously, I listened to Luna last week, which backfired on my ass because, but it wasn't Luna's fault because the one I replaced him with, we had my one running back. He went off injured in the first quarter, and then we came back, and then we've just been talking about James Robinson for Jacksonville, top running back for the last few games. Doesn't seem to be being used or utilized, and obviously Luna had been saying Jacksonville just sacked their coach. That could change what happens with James Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
So
he has been playing?
Well, thing is, 1 week he fumbled, and then they took him off and didn't bring him back on and used their other running backs. We don't know why that happened. And last week he played, but only saw a small possession of the play and only scored 0.40 points. So being Jacksonville's top running back and he's not scoring points, like he's not even getting plays. And I was looking, do I keep him in this
You
week?
think they might go for a trade?
I don't know, because what I was looking at, because Jacksonville play Houston this week, it's a good chance for him to get some points. But last 2 weeks have got me on a bit of a, do I use him? And I was just speaking with Luna, saying probably with the new coach, etc., it's probably going to do what the old coach wasn't going to be doing. So it might be worthwhile that keeping him in, because my only other option is Reynolds was coming for the Detroit, but Detroit are Detroit, right? They only won their first game a couple of weeks ago after 365 days. So are Detroit really going to do much against Arizona? Probably not. So when you look at that, it's one of those things. So there were just a couple of the options we were.
Detroit has a terrible quarterback, man. He always be giving the ball up. Jared Goff. Yeah, he's terrible.
Quarterback?
Yeah, he's terrible, man. Yeah.
What did you guys think about the game? I mean, you guys saw the fight yesterday?
Yeah, so we spoke about it at the start of this stream. And we talked about, so you're on about the Jake Paul fight, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen all the stuff on Twitter, right? What's your opinion?
What do you think, Daph? You think
I think that shit was rigged. All that shit was rigged. Had to be rigged. Like, come on, like, who just falls like that with a hook? Not even that strong. Like,
me and Luna on the same. You'd watch the video, you see the way the signal's being given by the arm, his hands drops, and then you get this shot in that completely floors him. And not being funny, this guy's just turned 3 or 4 fights out of from a YouTuber, and you're fighting a UFC fighter who's been battering people up in the fucking octagon for how long? And you're letting some YouTuber make you look like a mug.
There's just no way. The only way for that to happen is if it's rigged. That's the only way.
So
I don't know, man.
It was a short, like, he took it on 2 weeks, so it's like he had a disadvantage. But if you watch the fight, it went the distance, and it was like when that guy went like that with his hands just went down. And if you're a boxer, you know, like, once you do that, it's over.
It was just
Like
crazy fight.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Frank Gore one? And he almost got knocked out the ring like in a Rocky movie. He goes through the ropes. Yeah, it was
man.
He dropped the dude. Was Darren Williams pushed him? And he flew through the ropes like that. And when he was going through the ropes, he tried to give him an uppercut, and the ref just like doesn't know what to do. When someone goes through the ropes, the ref's supposed to get in between them and like kind of stop it so no one gets hurt. This ref was like allowing all these dirty shots off of like when they hug each other.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have like clean breaks, and these refs weren't doing anything. This boxing shit is getting out of control, man.
I feel like the boxing industry or whatever, it's rigged. Everything's all about money. Who's a better competitor and whatnot? Who got the most fucking publicity out there? We're gonna make sure he wins.
It's more about the shit talking before the match. Now,
it'd be interesting. Like I was saying to Luna, right, I think one of the safest sports that we have going right now is boxing. And the only time it ever goes wrong is when you go to the judges' scorecard, and judges mess it up sometimes. You feel the judge. But like yesterday's fight put a lot of doubt in whether someone got paid to take a hit.
You can tell that guy got paid to take a hit, to take a knockout.
Well,
that guy did.
Well, Luna said something about, was it a Rolex watch or some watch that he was paid that was more than his purse money, Luna?
he gave gave him like some kind of gift before the match, and then they were saying that it was worth a lot of money.
Who gave him the Rolex? Woodley?
Yeah, he gave what's his name? Paul gave him a Rolly or something before the match.
Yeah.
I'm saying like I respect
Right
you.
there, it's right there. It's right there.
Yeah. So it's questionable, man. It's a questionable fight.
He got knocked out to do it purposely, on purpose, just for a Rolex watch. So
You
it's
see
what
what
a shame.
At the end of the fight, he had his arm right there, and he was talking like he wasn't hurt or nothing. He just got up regular. I was just like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm alright. I'm like, what the hell?
Unbelievable. I just can't believe him.
And then the fact that he had the balls to call out Conor McGregor next or Nate Diaz.
Hey, that I don't know about that one. Who knows though? Who knows? Because you never know unless you're part of that lifestyle. You may never know.
But don't be funny, right? I don't think McGregor would take the fight. I don't think it makes any point for McGregor to take that fight, or he wouldn't want to win. But like Luna said earlier on, Diaz you could possibly see happening, but you should also at the same time see Diaz absolutely annihilating him.
Diaz is a good one.
He's
a good boxer.
If he does fight McGregor's not going to get paid to get knocked out.
No.
He doesn't know to pick a bribe. So if he does fight him, I want to see that.
That would be a good fight.
Yeah.
Is Conor McGregor healthy now? Is he healthy now?
Ooh, have you seen that dude?
Have you seen how big he's got? He's a beast now.
I haven't seen him lately since like his accidents.
I know, he's turned into like, he could probably get into heavyweight the way he's been built up like he's stocked up big time.
Oh man. I would like to see that fight then between him and Diaz.
He has like proper, whether he's steroided up and I don't know, jacked himself up somehow, but he jacked up, that man is. He's proper jacked up.
He's so strong his face don't even look the same.
So yeah, so that'd be, but I don't see that happening personally. I think Diaz I can see possibly happening, but again, this guy wants to call out Canelo, and not be funny, you don't fucking call out Canelo. Like Canelo is pound for pound best in the world right now. You ain't calling out the best in the world to come and take a fight against a guy who's had 4 fights with a YouTuber fight. It's like means nothing to him. Even though money,
would have knocked him out in 2 weeks.
I don't think.
Took the fight in 2 weeks to knock him out.
I think Canelo beats him in a round.
You think?
I think Canelo floors him in a round.
Canelo, he's a good ass boxer.
I don't think his arms are strong enough to even block one of Canelo's punches.
You know, the fact that he's gone from welter all the way to light heavy. No, not light heavy. Was it light heavy? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Light heavy. That's a serious climb. You're making from light heavy, like to welter to middle to super middle to light heavy. You know, that is a serious climb in divisions there.
Didn't he used to get knocked up by a YouTuber?
I think so, right?
It was KSI or some shit like that. Yeah. That was before it was staged.
So funny.
But it's interesting. We'll see what the future holds on that side of it. But like I said to Luna at the start of the show, there's no way you're going to prove that fight was rigged. Everyone's got their conspiracy theories and theories regarding what happened. But the fact that you're proving that happened is another thing to everyone saying, "Oh yeah, he took a dive." Don't Woodley's probably laughing in money right now and sitting there.
Oh, he is with his Rolex.
No.
Both of them are making money off of the pay-per-views. Beats them. It's just a money grab. It's like you're paying to see one of Jake Paul lose or some shit. It never happens. Like Mayweather. Everyone pays because they think he's going to lose, and he never fucking loses.
But yeah, again, I've said it before, though. I think Mayweather picked the fights at the right time for him. If he picked the fights when they were supposed to happen, like Pacquiao, that fight should, happen years ago. Not at the time, that fight should have happened years ago when they were both at their best. When Mayweather fought Canelo was still coming up. He wasn't even as good as he was now.
Well, that's what I think about.
Huh.
I think before he got like the Money Mayweather fucking title, he used to be a real boxer. He used to fight. He used to have that good defense, where no one could hit him. But then when he became Money Mayweather, he started stacking his fights and choosing his opponents. Like
It's all about the money.
Yeah, he started winning off of his name more than his fucking fighting.
More than his skills.
He's the one that started all this stacking shit. Like Jake Paul's learning from him, and like he's doing the same shit Mayweather was doing. He's rigging the fights. He's stacking the refs. Always cover for him whenever he's hurt. They're like giving him extra time, stopping the fights. And then the refs are like, you have to win the round outright, and even then it's like questionable.
Mm-hmm.
It's questionable. The scores are questionable to me. I don't know. When I watch the fight, I'll be like, oh, he lost that round. Nope, he won it. What the fuck?
Everything's all rigged.
Yeah, this boxing shit ain't the same.
Indeed. Right, it's NFL time soon, guys, boys. Red Zone kicks off in 8 minutes. And that's how my evening is spent, watching the Red Zone, seeing my fantasy points come in, seeing my team already lost this weekend, so that's already done. Pat's already lost to yesterday, so that was a shitter.
You can watch the 49ers game with me.
I'll be watching the 49ers. I'll be watching a lot of the game. But 49ers, they kick off later today.
See you with your game shirt today, huh?
He's got his game shirt today. He's with it today.
At the Bosa.
Yes,
49ers are a late game as well, aren't they? Yeah, 49ers are a late game.
Nah, it's at 1. Well, 1 for me, so...
Yeah, so it's 9 p.m. for me. See, I get the 6 p.m. ones, and then for me, 49ers are 9 p.m. So for me, it's a late game, but I'll still be watching it. And, Bap, who do you support?
I support the Bears all the way.
Bears? Hang on, who the Bears got this weekend?
I was just looking at the roster.
They got Vikings. They got the Vikings.
I don't know, the Bears have been on us. I don't know, they've been kind of letting me down this season lately. So who knows how that game might be.
You guys got a rookie quarterback.
Well, yeah, that's why. My interest is more on the Bulls, but it's like they're crumbling down because of this COVID health restrictions or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's
lost like 5 to 6 players due to COVID or something like that.
Yeah, so we spoke about that earlier on in this conversation because Luna brought up about the baseball players on strike. Did you say, Luna?
Yeah, they're having like negotiations for a new contract, and one of the negotiation things they're stuck on is like more pay for their risking their like health of their family and stuff like that, because they played through the COVID, the first outbreak, but now that there's a variant and all this other shit, and that COVID's not going away, they're talking about we need more compensation for risking our lives playing. So the whole baseball season coming up is on hold. It's on lock. They're saying it's going to be a strike season.
That's so lame. I love watching baseball.
Yeah, it sucks for me too.
Yeah, see, I just put a twist on that because obviously what Luna was saying, I was just saying that if everything is to believe, so if you were to take word for word of what people say, that if you're outdoors, COVID isn't a risk as it is if you're indoors, because you're out in the open air, then what hazard pay are they looking for? Because they're not close to any of the fans. They're only close to their teammates, their coaches, their trainers. They're not close to the fans at that. So the risk of you catching something off a fan is very unlikely. You've got more risk of catching something off your teammate. So what hazard pay are you actually looking for? I get NBA because you're all indoor, right? You're not done outdoor. So you've got more chance of even breathing air, etc., within the indoor fat and catching it quicker. But if you're outdoor, You don't. So what are they for? And that was me putting a twist on it, saying, what are you fighting for? Because the risk is less if you believed in everything they tell you about COVID. That is.
It just sounds like more grief from the players.
And if you ever like been down like on the lower part of the fields when people play, most of the air travels down to where the players are. That's why they get so hot when they're playing. Like it's open, yeah, but like it's stacked heading down, and so most of the air like travels to where they're at. Like you can feel it. You can. I guess that's the risk. I guess they're talking about, but it is true what you're saying, Magic. In open area, you don't even have to wear a mask in LA. So,
Exactly.
like if I go outside, I don't have to wear my mask.
But in LA, it's fucking like that. When I went to LA, I felt polluted. It was so hot and everything. Like,
yeah, 100%.
But so we'll pick that up on a thing once you like. We'll see how that develops over the next few weeks, Luna, and you can update us on whether that is the case and whether that's happened and what's gone on, and see whether it gets started again or whether they, like you said, strike this season out completely because they couldn't come to a settlement regarding that whole situation. I think it'd be stupid if they let it be like that, but it is what it is. You know, look at NFL. They've got the COVID thing. Again, I don't agree with what they've done this week, giving other teams more chance to get their better players back when other teams have had to deal with it throughout the season and play without their better players. And all of a sudden, if you're in a playoff spot or wildcard spot, then you're giving the extra time for your better players to come back to give you a better chance to stay in there. I think that's bullshit. You know, you deal with the squad you got. Every team has dealt with it throughout the whole season. Why does it make a big difference all of a sudden now to help these teams out?
Star players, star organizations, and owners that have a lot of money, like the Crafts, that make money like hand over foot. There's like the Rams owner. He's richer than what like 10 owners from other teams combined. So he gets like breaks all the time, man. This NFL shit is as fixed as the fucking UFC fights.
Hi, Pirate Pinto. How are you? Welcome to the NFL chat. You just joined the chat. I don't know if you're into NFL, Pirate, but we're NFL talking right now with the fixtures this weekend. But yeah, so it'll be interesting what happens this weekend. I think there's only 3 more games left after this before the final spots are decided. So next few weeks will be crucial. If I was going to say to both of you right now, if you had to pick one team that was going to win the Super Bowl this year, who would your team be? As it stands now. Buccaneers. Yours and Buccaneers. What are you saying, Luna?
49ers.
He's sticking by his team. So I'm assuming. So I guess you're saying that the Cardinals are going to drop, considering the form they're in.
They just lost their best wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. He's out for the rest of the season. So let's see if he makes it back to the playoffs. They're saying he might make it back for the first game, but I don't think so.
Okay. Fair enough. Right, guys, so that's the end of the show this week. We've talked about the NFL. Sunday, it's now 6 o'clock, so all the games start kicking off. I guess that's 9 a.m. where you are, Luna? 10 a.m. where you are. About what time where you are?
Yeah.
It's 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
12 o'clock in the afternoon. So different time zones for all of us. We'll pick up next week and see how things look. Obviously, we've got the talk show tomorrow, picking up all the Christmas fixtures for the football in the UK with me and Clown. I will confirm time and that bit later because there'll be a more Christmas break before the next few shows happen after Monday. So we'll pick that up. Thank you, Luna, for joining in. Thank you, Bap, for coming on and
Thank
joining
you
the
for having
discussion. And we'll catch you all on the next show. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. GVC, baby.
GBC all the way. Thank you, guys.
Let's take it easy.
You too.
Take it easy, boys.